We bring in the Speaker of the House of Pennsylvania. He is Mike Turzai, and haven't talked to him in a while. Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Hey, Gary, I was just going to say, first of all, Don Kiefer, Representative Don Kiefer, and others of your House delegation just did an outstanding job in supporting Senate Bill 613. We amended 613 to allow work to occur in Pennsylvania that is occurring in as many as 44 other states, by the way, many of whom have stay-at-home orders or stay-in-place orders. And the whole goal is that you can work safely and put food on your table and take care of your family following CDC requirements, and that Pennsylvania has had the most restrictive approach to this stay-in-place order, and we need to be balanced to prevent a collapse of an economy.
Yeah, you had said in an article I saw this morning, we have the highest number of claims in the entire United States as far as unemployment right now, which is a frightening thought. You don't want to be number one in that category, right?
Gary, think about that. 1.4 million plus of your fellow citizens in Pennsylvania have filed for unemployment compensation. And, the ability to work and to provide dignity and hope, people are just devastated. Every one of us in our counties and districts across the state are getting calls really nonstop about folks that want to be outside and doing construction work, or they have a floral shop and they want to be able to deliver flowers to a home, not to a person, leave it outside, take the payment through the internet. It's happening in big box stores, appliance sales, or remote real estate transactions, or remote car sale transactions. 49 other states are allowing remote car sale transactions. These places employ a lot of people. It's just common sense. And to your point about golfing, folks need to be outside. They can be safe. Folks they're conscientious. They care about themselves and their fellow citizens and their family. They're going to wear masks. They're going to stay apart. I just think what we might have in terms of increased depression and suicide and alcoholism and drug addiction is as much of a scourge as this COVID. And the COVID is something we need to work together against, and we are. But we also have to make sure we're taking care of everybody in everyday life.
We're talking with Mike Turzai, Speaker of the House in the state of Pennsylvania. Mike, what it comes down to, I saw the Democrats basically voted and the Republicans basically voted. For the most part, it was right down party lines. And I guess my concern is not that it's so much politics here, as the Democrats obviously are supporting the governor, and they're saying, okay, he's had some decent results with this. And yet, one of the things when we talk about life-sustaining business, people are saying, wait a second, I may not have a life to come back to if my business goes in the dumper. Yeah. We're a state made up of small businesses. So talk a little bit about that, if you would, please, about life-sustaining and what that could mean here in the long run in terms of being able to pay the bills and have a living to come back to, especially for small businesses that might die by the wayside here.
I think it was Representative Keeper, I believe, that said every job is life-sustaining to someone. It's the wrong divide, Gary. It's whether you can work safely at your particular job and how can you work safely. And the Center for Disease Control has provided that. And you know what you are saying, if we're really making the benchmark life-sustaining, people have to have a life they come back to. When we have talked to folks, we've talked to many small contractors and construction folks all across the state, some of them who have contracts with the Game Commission, or they have contracts with PennDOT or the Turnpike. And for them, when we talk to them, maybe they have savings for a month or 6 weeks, but they don't have savings beyond that. And then they look at what they put away for maybe their kids to go to college or to a trade school, and they've seen the value depleted. Or they look at, the opportunity to go on a vacation with their grandson or their granddaughter, and that opportunity is going to be gone. This is everyday stuff, and I don't think that the governor understands that you can be safe and taking on this COVID, and that in different areas of the state it can be done in different measures too.
with Mike Turzai, the Speaker of the House here in Pennsylvania. Mike, have a question for you from Franny, so I'm going to bring her in very quickly. Fran, go ahead. Your question for the Speaker.
Yes. Hi, Mike. This seems to me to be a little deeper than what we're actually seeing on the surface. Every year, the governor wants to raise taxes. And if we don't have this income stream coming in like we need in this state, that it will give him a chance to say, well, we have to balance the budget. Let's go after the golden goose of fracking, which I know he wants to disable, and raise taxes on everyone to balance the budget. Call me cynical, but that's the way I'm looking at it, that every year he wants to raise taxes on everyone.
Okay, Fran, we have Mike back. Mike, your thoughts on that?
Well, Fran, I think you have a legitimate point there. Chairman Stan Saylor from York County, our appropriations chair, the majority appropriations chair, has told us that for this budget year, 1920, the one we're in, that ends on June 30th, we could be up to $6 billion short. Gary, we were in the black to the tune of about $1 billion. We were going to have another surplus, just like we did the last budget year. And, the best probably economy in our lifetimes. Secondly, we can't even project what the depths of the loss of revenue income when you have 1.5 million people soon to be on unemployment compensation. The thing that I think is touching is it's sad. It's very sad. God bless all these folks. But, if the governor wants to increase tax rates, we have told him, Governor, you can increase income tax rates as much as you want, but 20% of nothing is nothing. If there's nobody involved with economic activity, there are no income taxes or sales taxes to be had. And then how are we going to help out? Let me just use this real briefly, Gary. Our health system, our hospitals and health systems are losing, on average, $2 billion a month right now. $2 billion a month.
And that's kind of incredible at this particular point. Did we lose Mike again?
No, Gary, I'm here.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. I've kind of stayed away from the whole political end of things on all of this because I think people of goodwill are trying to find a way to figure this out. I think the governor's a man of goodwill. I think you are obviously the people in the state house and so forth. I was looking at one of the comments in the article I was reading this morning, and it said people like one of your colleagues, Representative Elizabeth Fiedler of South Philly, said it's too early to do this. She said reopening all businesses is not the safe thing to do for any of our families. We need to stay home, stay safe, and stay calm, echoing the words of Dr. Levine that we hear every day. But I want to pose a question to you, Mike. All the projections that I see, people are saying, well, this is going to last for a while. If you think about all the various, infections that have come across our landscape over the years, from flu to the various kinds of viruses from SARS and MERS and West Nile and all that, we've learned to live with it rather than hide from it. And isn't that what we have to do right now? We have to learn to live with it because we can't hide from it indefinitely, especially with the economy hanging in the balance right now.
Gary, your point's so excellent. The fact of the matter is we have to learn safely in a manner that protects our most vulnerable, right? I know York County has had 4 deaths, and we need to protect the most vulnerable, which are seniors. It's individuals who have the vast majority of those who have passed away are seniors, absolutely. God bless. And in addition, it's people who have underlying, complex health issues or underlying complications. And oftentimes it's both, right? It's seniors with already underlying issues like diabetes or like heart disease or prone to infections. We have to make sure that those people are safe and that we provide extra levels of protection, right? Second, we have already turned the corner on personal protection equipment for the healthcare professionals that are on the front line. But let me just use UPMC by way of example. As of last Friday, in 40 hospitals, they have 5,500 beds. Only 96 of them had patients with 96 of those beds were with patients with COVID, and about a third to a half of them needed a ventilator or respirator. We've turned the corner. We've got manufacturers who are making the masks and the gowns and the ventilators, and we're getting it to those places that need it. I do think that Gary, that there's no end date. When you talk to our colleagues, there's never an end date. There's never a goal in mind, and the reason is this is not going away. Until we develop a vaccine, we have to manage it in such a way that we protect the most vulnerable and that we safely return to work. And what Representative Fiedler and others do not understand is as many of these economic activities that put bread on people's tables are happening in other states. That's what we're talking about. They are
and that's
already
the point.
managing it in that fashion.
So let me ask you this, two questions here in one, because we only have about a minute left. Number one, suppose the governor vetoes this, what are you going to do? And secondly, are you pleased with the governor's and your cooperation so far on trying to work together on this, or has it been like two separate compartments so far? About 45 seconds, your final thoughts.
Look, we insisted upon the governor giving us briefings. He has been calling us on Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon. We usually get some numbers, but then he never tells us about the pronouncements or the orders that he gives that evening, school closures, or joining this compact or this deal with these other states in the Northeast, or the order to shut down businesses in the first, any work activity in the first place. We had to insist on a waiver process. The governor just has a different worldview. He is a very nice gentleman. I have never had a problem on a personal level with the governor, but he has a different worldview, and I don't think he thinks that the legislature is all that relevant.
Okay. And if he vetoes this, you come back again with something else?
I do. I think we're going to have to take other approaches, maybe industry by industry, maybe take construction under CDC and Homeland Security guidelines and definitions. I think, remote auto sales, remote real estate sales, take it in detail.
To be continued. Mike, always appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. I hope we can talk again soon, and hopefully happier news as we talk to you, okay?
Yeah, and Gary, if I might just also put a plug in for Representative Seth Grove, he has been tracking social ills that happen in communities across the state with the rise in unemployment. And community by community, more domestic violence, more DUIs, it's frightening. Folks
and we'll have to run with that.
Or attuned to that.
Yeah, we'll have to run with that. We'll get Seth on. We have Dawn Kiefer on tomorrow. And thank you for being on with us today, Mr. Speaker. We appreciate it.